So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kostas. Welcome to this Impact Virtual Exchange activities. We are very happy to see all of you to follow Dr. Levenberg's talk. The talk is entitled Teaching Research Skills in the AI Era. I'm very happy also that we have together with us Joseph Georgos, who is very close to the research and to the research book of our European university from the University of Maribor, which is a part of the Impact, together with Tatiana. Few words about Dr. Ariela Levenberg. She's a PhD graduate from the prestigious Science and Technology at the Technion, Technion University, Israeli Science and Technology Institute, from the Faculty of Education. Her research includes innovation and technology and distance education. I think it's better, the people to mute. I will mute them. Her research involves innovation and technology in distance education. And now she's a lecturer, if I'm not doing any mistake, in the Gordon College of Education, which is a partner of the Erasmus Virtual Exchange Project Impact. She also, another aspect of Ariela, she works for the Ministry of Education regarding teacher professional development. And I think that this is very close to all of us. All of us, we are teachers. So probably through her talk, she can give us some tips how we can professionally develop our career. So the floor is yours, Ariela, for the next 40 minutes, in order also to provide the floor for discussion. And thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, too. As you said, my name is Dr. Ariela Levenberg, and I work in Gordon College of Education. But I used to work for the Ministry of Education, and I don't work there anymore, but I still have a lot of knowledge from when I worked there. I'll share my screen and let us start. I'm the head of innovation and technology in education, a master's program in Gordon. It's very special master's program which we give to teachers. So I meet teachers a lot. They are my students now. And I want to talk to you about teaching research skills in the AI era, which is, of course, something which I'm sure many of you are acquainted with. And I want to highlight a few perspectives which perhaps are newer than others. I first want to talk about what skills does a good researcher need, and of course a perfect student for research need for conducting good research. So the first three are actually perhaps something which is a trait, like being passionate, being curious, having perseverance. It's something which you're born with, or at least you have it in your education during the years. But effective communication and knowing how to do effective communication, collaboration, and especially critical thinking is something which is teachable, and it's a skill more than a trait. Although people can be born critical, but for research you need a little more than just being born critical. You need a lot of knowledge. And the other skills are organizational skills, integrity and ethical conduct, and independence. I will mention it, but I will not delve into it. I will start with talking about critical thinking, which I think is something which we are afraid as researchers that will go away via using an automatic tool like AI. So what do we need? What do we do with critical thinking? Some of the things which we do with critical thinking, of course, all of you honorable academics know that we need to use keywords and evaluate the quality and search and filter and save and avoid publication or unfinished research, and build on evidence. This is something which we all know. This is something which AI is suspected of not doing. But I must say that there are AI generators which do it and do it quite well. And I'm going to show today, for those of you who haven't been acquainted with these generators, I'll show some of them. So what is the rationale for integrating generative AI in research? Well, research is not an easy work to do. And if we do it, I think most of you probably do it. It's some of the work is automatic, and it even we some of the work give out to other people who can do it for us, the automatic part, like searching for concepts, or having an assistant who does things for us. So AI can be an assistant. It can be an assistant not just for us as researchers, it can be an assistant for our students. I teach students for thesis, or they do one of the very important thing that they do in their studies, in a master's studies, is work on an assignment, which is similar to a thesis. And I do teach them how to work with AI to make things a little easier. So I will talk about these possibilities, like formulating research question, conducting literature review, processing data, information from documents, and more. So I will start from a very practical thing, as from formulating research question. This is not an easy thing for students to do. Sometimes it's not easy for us either, because we need to know what's about around in the world. So I want to offer you a tool. This tool is called Scispace, and I'm going to show it to you, and I will afterwards ask you to try it yourself. So I'll start with this tool. This is an AI tool that does quite a lot of things, but I'm going to show you only a bit of it. And the first thing I want to show is how I can formulate a good or an interesting question for my research. So I would take a research. You see, these are my my former quests for research questions for my students. So this is, I will ask about how can I will ask about I will give just keywords like AI in research. Okay, it takes it a few minutes, especially now that I'm in Zoom. But the generator, it's not Google. It's completely different. The generator will offer a few questions. The questions are like, how has the integration of AI research impacted the accuracy and efficiency of scientific discoveries? What are the current advancements of AI technologies? This is these questions the AI is offering from putting together different words and understanding what my meaning is. I'm not going to explain how AI works, because this is not the theme of my talk here, but it does work as trying to find the meaning and complete it. Okay, so I can ask for a qualitative question or a quantitative question. It depends what I want, or just put in concepts together and see what AI offers me. AI is a Scispace. For this I decided to use Scispace. The Scispace generator is good for helping me ask questions. So I would take the Okay, I would take the first question, which is qualitative, and I would press on it, and I would see what this generator knows what to do. Okay, so it's not ChatGPT. It doesn't hallucinate. It gives me real data, and it gives me a very first literature review, which I can build upon. Okay, so it first of all explains what AI is, or it doesn't start from that. It talks about the advancements in the last recent years, and you can see down here I can filter the answers. All of the answers are real. These are real papers. Some of them are open, and some of them are not. But I can filter them, and I can add columns here to explain more about these. This paper is actually the first one here. You can see it one, okay? It's here. And I can ask more question about it. I can get some insights about this paper. I can ask for more columns. The columns can include a TLDR. I suppose you know what it is. It's too long, didn't read. So it gives us a very, very short abstract of it. The conclusion only, the results, the summarized introduction, the methods used. So I can press on that and I will get another column which gives me the answers. As if I had paid a paid account here, I could export it. I think I can't export it because I don't have a paid account, but I can export it as a Excel file. So this is part of the things which Scispace can do with research. It can do much more than that. If I go back and I can see here on the side, it has now something new, which is called Notebook. It's like I opened it before because it's really new. It's a last week thing, and it collects my insights into it from different papers. I haven't tried it deeply yet, but I already have my first notebook. It has a co-pilot. Co-pilot is an assistant which exists on part of the AI generators, and this one, Scispace, has a co-pilot. It does the literature review. It even does citation generator, which is amazing, although it doesn't do it so well always. And it has a paraphraser, which means that if I'm working on a text and I want to paraphrase it in different ways, I can do it. I'll give you a short experience of that. I will take it's saving it to my first notebook. I want to take a text from here. Waiting. And of course, when it comes up, I can take the text, I can take it into the paraphraser and let it work on it and give it a new look. Okay, so now I can ask for academic, I can ask for fluent, formal, creative, or more. I can ask for friendly. I can ask for this text to be friendly, and I can right now paraphrase it and make it into a new way of talking. Okay, so that's okay. That's okay. It's not. This is turning an academic text into a different kind of text. But if I take an academic text and I want to make it shorter, I want to vary the words to vary. I can do it. I can do it like that. I can also, of course, do it in a different language. I can do it in. Let's try if there is Greek here. I'm sure there is. Okay, so it will give me, I paraphrase it into Greek, and I can of course turn it into a different text, which I don't understand, of course. It has another tool in it. It has an AI detector, which means that if I want to see if he detects that I did this in AI, I can find if it detects my AI. It can analyze, and of course it's not very accurate. Of course it's 100% AI, but it gives me 50%, which is something to think about, because if our students are copying or doing all sorts of funny things with AI, we might not see it by these tools which are trying to detect the AI. Okay, so this is Scispace, and I wanted to show you another tool, and then I will be open to questions. And two tools I'll show you: Elicit and ChatGPT 4. Maybe you know it, but I can show other tools which interesting things like that as well. The other tool, which is interesting, that can conduct a literature review. Scispace does a literature review of five papers or books or whatever is open, and Elicit also does that, but it does a few other things as well. Elicit works differently. It's also an AI tool, and it knows how to find papers, just like Scispace. But if I ask a question, what can be done with AI in education, I will, of course, this generator scans more than 125 million academic papers, and it summarizes 8 abstracts. Scispace summarizes 5, but it has much more, of course, if you want. So it gives me a summary of 8 papers, which is sort of somewhat of a literature review. I wouldn't use it as is, but it gives me when I start research, it gives me an idea what is around in the world talking about AI in education. Of course, like I didn't show you in Scispace, but I can filter it by year. I can ask for it to be filtered by year. I can ask it to be sorted by most relevant, and I can, of course, export it as CSV or BIB or things which I'm sure you know, academics, you know, Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote, but you can, of course, export it into Excel or spreadsheets. So I can see all these papers, like you can see in the in the in the literature review here. You can see them also down here. The role of AI in education. It doesn't have a PDF, but of course I can, like I do in like I did in Scispace, I can add more columns, which is very, like, even population sex or participant age, which is could be interesting if you are researching on this kind of thing. So this is a very interesting feature. I will go back uh, to Elicit homepage. Elicit actually works in 3 workflows. The first one is to find papers, like I did. The second one is extract data from PDFs. I'll just show it very shortly, but you can upload a PDF and ask questions about the PDF. I think also Scispace knows how to do it. Most certainly, ChatGPT knows how to do it, and others know how to do it as well. But Elicit had a very special feature, which is the list of concepts. List of concepts. When we start researching, of course, you know, and our students also need to know that one of the first thing is to map the concepts of the research field. Like if I'm researching about digital literacy, and I try to pressing on the list of concept. It takes time for the generator to produce. I will let it work. It takes a few minutes, but it will give me a list of concepts of what is digital literacy. So, like I said, it takes time. Even the company itself, they even say in one of the videos that it takes time to produce these papers and this list. But once it produces, it's a very interesting thing because, of course, when we start research, even before we define the research question, we want to know what are the definitions and concepts of this field. So I
So
don't
you
know if I'll
misspelled
wait.
the literacy. You misspelled the literacy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Ah. Yeah, maybe that's why it took it more time. You're right. Sorry. um, so I'll be waiting for a while because it already started to show answers. I don't know if you misspell something, if you get answers, because like Google knows how to correct your spelling. Perhaps Elicit knows how to correct spelling as well. In any case, as you see, something that has popped up here is Grammarly. Grammarly is already working the list of concepts. Grammarly is another a tool for researchers. Some of you know it, some of you use it for free, some of you pay for it. I paid for it because it's a very worthy tool for me to correct like things like that, which I misspell. Sometimes I misspell because I don't know how to write it, and sometimes I just don't notice that I misspelled, like here. Okay, so now the concepts is found 92 papers, 115 concepts in 92 papers. In 1 minute, it will remove duplicate concepts and then it will produce a final answer. The marvelous thing about it that when I was a student, I needed to do a list of concepts of the field, which I did my PhD about flexible thinking, and just to do the mapping of the concepts, I think it took me a whole year. So here it gives me the list of concepts very easily. So the list of concepts, some of them are language model, which means we don't need to use it because it's like one of the AI tools. It doesn't, you cannot, I wouldn't use it. But others come from papers, and we can of course research it. But some of them are not, like this one. I don't know if it's connected, but this one is. It's digital literacy is the ability to effectively blah blah blah, and it goes on. And this is from 2014. But the problem with the list of concepts is yet that they don't have you can't filter it by date, which is a sad thing for this generator. But I think they're working on it because I'm sure they know it's an important thing to do. The last thing which I want to show is ChatGPT 4. I pay for ChatGPT 4. It's worth my money and time because it can process data and extract information, not just ask questions and process the answers. So I'll show it now for any of you which don't know it. I didn't find any data which I'm happy with showing, so I'm not going to show the data, but you will believe me because I use ChatGPT 4. You can use ChatGPT 3.5, which is not as good. But the nice thing about ChatGPT 4 is that you can attach files, and you can ask questions about these files from your computer. And one of the things which you can do, because it has you can't write a lot of stuff here, but you can, if you attach a file of data, it could be in Word, it could be in Excel, the generator can analyze it. Maybe I will try to show you how it analyzes for whoever doesn't know that. Just something. I don't even know what it is. You see, this is all the stuff which my students are working on. So I have a lot of stuff here. Well, I guess this might be okay. So I will open this and it's processing it. And of course, it's a PDF, so it processes. I can ask question about it, and I can ask the ChatGPT to provide. So I can provide a short summary. But I can also do statistical stuff on ChatGPT, which I did, and it offers me different ways of analyzing data. Okay, so this already, I can not read it, I can know what's in it and not even open it. Gaps in the current literature and proposed directions for future research. Okay, so this is already here, but I can of course process other things as well. But it also, a nice thing about ChatGPT nowadays is that it can provide Word or Excel documents when I ask for a document that has all sorts of data in it, like programs, or it knows how to do many things. So this is, no, I'm not stopping to share. I'll finish my presentation. Okay. So I actually showed you in a nutshell about formulating a research question, conducting literature review, processing data, and of course there are some other generators which could be shown. Some of them do other things, but I think it's easier to go deeper into these existing ones. And if you ask any questions, I can of course show others. So, what are the concerns before you say them yourself? We know that AI can be a means for copying and deceiving. It can decline writing skills and critical thinking, because if the students or us, we don't use our critical thinking for doing the research and just use the stuff which we get from AI, we are in a great problem. And I can tell stories about these people who were caught with plagiarism and nonsense stuff which they wrote in their papers. So bias and inaccuracy. So I think it's very important to equip our students and the faculty with knowledge about these tools, because the students will be using them. We're maybe older generation, but they will be using them quite soon. Perhaps the ones that speak English will do it, or know English better will do it quicker, but the tools for translating are also developing and very, very quickly. So we need to very much consider the ethical perspectives like data privacy, algorithm bias, which I don't know, maybe it will come up now when we have an open discussion, like how would you describe the certain ethnic group, and that could be a bias of the algorithm, and transparency in decision-making processes of the students and of us, but especially of the students that we know we are teaching. Some of us are teaching research, so we need to know what they went through, what decision they took when they were using AI. And one of the things which is very complicated with AI, it's rapidly changing and it's developing all the time. Each time I open it, I'm just praying that it looks the same as the last time. that I opened it, but it most certainly doesn't. They're working like every 2 weeks. There's a new development, and then you have to learn and deep research do of this tool to see what it does. So we have to stay updated, which is a little tiring, but we have to do it. And we need to make informed decisions about using the tools. So we don't need to use one tool when we research, or one tool when the students research. We need to be acquainted with as much as possible, to use it efficiently. So that is my exposure of AI in research. And I would like to propose that you ask questions, or perhaps we can even try to examine these tools together.
Thank you very much, Ariela, for the presentation. I have some questions for myself, but I would like to give first the floor to the audience. Otherwise, I can start the discussion. So I'm going to wait for a while for the people to react. Now you can switch on your cameras. I mean, there is a study that we save a lot of energy if the cameras are off. You know, an extremely high amount of energy we save with the cameras off. But I think that for the discussion, it's better to be less green. Okay, thank you, Yorgos. I will provide the floor to Yorgos first. Thank you, Yorgos.
Thank you, Ariela, for your lecture and tutorial to these three relatively different but very similar environments or tools. All the important questions have been noted at your last two slides. And these are the questions that we are facing as professors, as teachers. But before discussing this, I would like to ask you if there is any reliability test for these tools regarding the accuracy. For example, the accuracy. Of course, there can be also other criteria. Namely, I expect that these tools are based on some of the commercial services from big publishers also. Let me just mention Scopus or Web of Science and so on. How are these infrastructures related to these AI tools? Thank you.
Oh, that is a difficult question, because I'm not a librarian, so I don't have the answer for how it is related to Scopus, or I don't know. But I know it does. The papers which are presented there are not specifically the highly graded papers, okay, that exist in the field. Mostly they are open, and you can see that they are real, so you can read them. So if you ask me the question, if you can rely on them, you need to read them to rely on them. But it does give you a picture of what is existing in the field. Like we use Google Scholar, okay, so there's a semantic scholar, or which these generators use. It's a different tool, which also you can look for papers there. But I don't know how to answer your question. It's a very interesting question, and I'm going to ask our librarian what she says about it, to have an answer for next time I'm asked. But the papers are reliable. They are there.
Yes, thank you. Kostas, may I continue with sub question, please?
Yeah.
So namely, it interferes in a way with open access. So I believe that all these AI tools have access to open access papers, but still there is a struggle for open access, and
I know.
So some papers are in golden access or different variations of accessibility of papers. And I know that it is a bit a librarian question, but on the other side, we cannot access the most accurate content from the field that we are exploring. That's just a comment, maybe
Yeah,
more.
yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. But I'm not saying these are the best papers to access, but I'm saying that these tools exist and our students are going to use them. So we have to be aware that these exist. And of course, I don't think, I don't think, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say which journals are part of these 125 million papers which Elicit was screening. But it's an interesting question. But we have to be aware that our students are going to use this. So
Thank you. Yeah.
But I would like to reflect on what this is not my question, but I would like to reflect on what Georgos has asked. All right, my first reflection is the following. I mean, independent, there exist, the librarians, they have, on their process, similar softwares that they had before about plagiarism. Now they have, a software regarding AI plagiarism, like, ChatGPT kind of generation. They exist. It's from the same company, but they have developed for the ChatGPT. I don't remember the name. If you give me something, Santini, Prentini, something like this, but they exist. They have on their process, such a tool. Secondly, is like sometimes we used to say like, how are we going to caught and how are we going to arrest the thief? But I think the best policy is like, how do we prevent someone to be a thief? So I will say if someone is not going to caught, his paper, if it's an experimental, the results cannot be reproduced. And by the end of the day, if the paper is good, it's going to take citation, but the risk that he's going to be caught is getting higher because the people, they would like to repeat the results, and the results they cannot repeat. In this case, a lot of papers, they have been withdrawn, a lot of papers. The champion in the frauding is Germany. So they are going to be caught at the end of the day. If the paper now is like shit, no one is going to cite it. So it's not like the number of the paper, it's the quality. If the quality is good, you are going to get citations. If this is good, if the paper is real, if you are going to get citations and you have done the super, let's say, frauding, people, they would like to repeat the results, and the results cannot be repeated. Particularly in experimental physics, for example, in my case. So I will say this is a matter of time. They have the software, but also it's a matter of time to, to be caught and then destroy your career.
Yeah, sorry, I want to answer that. I think if we're very busy all the time, locking the doors and trying to prevent the thieves from coming in, they will find a way to do it in any case. In any way, these detectors are not so good yet.
I'm not talking about detectors, Ariela. Detectors is one aspect. The other is the community, the academic community and the researchers. The researchers, they know. I mean, you need to repeat the results.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, you are going to be caught. I mean, you cannot justify your results in a conference. It's obvious, there are these people, but they can be caught if the editors, for example, they spend time in order to report, accusations that this paper, the results are not. We cannot duplicate the results. But there are process, and people, they don't cite, and that's it. But I think that what we should develop is like the soft skills in order, the people to be able to trust. It's not only the soft skills, because you mentioned critical thinking for this, but who is creating the critical thinking? It's our pedagogists, and the way how do we teach the students. And this is why I would like to tell you, how do you develop in Gordon, that you are in education, college, this critical thinking, this problem solving? This should come from the way that we teach, in order the people to have them and be able to adapt it to this artificial intelligence era. So this is my question.
Yeah. How do we develop critical thinking? Well, critical
and how do
thinking,
you
I think,
assess them?
I think first of all, critical thinking is developed when you teach research. Like when you teach research, somebody's Elena is also joining. Critical thinking is part of doing research. So when you do research, you need to use critical thinking. I wanted to say something about one of these tools. One of the ways that we look at research is, of course, how many times this research was cited. We can see it in Google Scholar, or we can see it in ResearchGate, or in any other platforms. One of these tools which I was showing, actually, Scispace, has also to filter by the most cited. So most cited does give us a certain way of looking at things. When you talk about critical thinking, you ask students to be critical about things. You give them the assignments in which they are critical about things that happen in the world, about papers that books and that they read. You talk critical. You do discussions about things in which they are asked to be critical. So that's how you don't teach, you model it. So that's what, at least I can talk for myself. I try to do it with my students, to be critical, and not critical, bad critical, but good critical. Like look at the things with lens of knowledge and not without. So, but of course, this is an ideal, and of course, not my students and not other students are perfect. So we do what we can.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you gave me a response, but I think that we should be the focus. It's not only about the research; it's about citizens as well. You know, a citizen
Yeah.
to have a
Yeah,
critical thinking is not only the research. The research is
yeah.
a process that you cultivate it, probably be not more, because you can read newspapers every day, magazines, and then you can train
Ah,
yourself and simulate yourself in critical thinking. I mean, it's a way of pedagogy, I would say. And I think that Monica would like to mention something. Am I right? Do I remember well?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I wanted to say something, but actually I got the answer, I think. But I wanted to say, Kostas, apropos, you were talking about experimental science, and it's true that it's easier, I think, easier in experimental science to, well, sort of distinguish well-written papers, well-done experiments, and so on and so on. But it's more tricky in the area of humanities, especially if somebody is writing like a review paper, a literature review or something like that. So I was wondering if this means that, the whole field of humanities is sort of not necessary or redundant anymore, because instead of researchers, we could just ask AI to do all the work or almost all the work for us or for our students. And if it still makes sense to ask students to write some research papers in well, it doesn't really matter what field of study, but generally humanities. If we have limited tools to check whether they used AI and to what extent they used AI, or whether they worked, on their own. So that's like my main concern.
I'm
Can I
very
respond to
concerned.
this? Can I respond to this? Because also,
Yeah.
I mean, in order to write a review paper is not a list of summary of what are you reading, and then say. You should say
Yeah.
your thing.
Mhm.
You should say the perspective. You should provide to the reviewers that you have the sense of the field. A review paper is not, a report. Is it's like the prospect of a whole field that you should provide as an expert how the things they are going, what are the risks based on what we are going to review, future results, future experiments. It's not just a report. Just a
Yes,
report.
I know.
All right. So the critical thinking and the know-how exist over there. Even if you are going to use AI tools, you need how to use them, because you have the feeling of the topic that you review.
Mhm.
Without technical knowledge, you're not going to provide a review paper that it will receive citation. In the majority of cases, it's going to be rejected by the editor if it's just a report. Pavel?
Yeah. I think I want to also say that my students, I teach my students for, like I said, research, and they know these tools, but they're still sweating over their research. They are not. The one I had one who gave in copied a copied version of the work which she should have done, and I just gave her a very strict. It was so obvious. I gave her a strict talk about it. So it's not you need critical thinking even when using AI. AI does automatic work. It doesn't do the thinking. We need to do the thinking about what AI gives us. So, but it does save us time. This is one of the things which are most important in our life. It does save us time, and maybe we'll have more time to work in the garden or pick flowers or do something which is like if some of the work is automatic, then which is not the critical thinking, because the critical thinking cannot be done by AI, not right now anyway.
Yeah, I know. From the position of a researcher, it's clear to me, but I was worried or wondering if it's possible
also
for a
worried.
student to, write a review paper with not only the help, but with AI, and will it pass for something authentic? If not, then it's fine. But if there is a danger like this, then I'm a bit more concerned than as a
You should
teacher more
be
than as
you
a
should,
researcher.
I think you should be concerned. You should be concerned. I'm also concerned. I also sometimes think this automatic machine can, of course, why should I research a question if I can get the answers so quickly from this machine? I'm not talking about these. There are others which are very interesting and also give us real life, not just scientific papers, but also real life results. So it is worrying. Yes, it is worrying, and some people in the world are going to lose their jobs because it does. I showed you the paraphrasing. So some of the newspaper people will lose their jobs because this is like pushing a button and you get it all ready. And these three are not the only tools. So these are really in a world of, I think, thousands of tools, which each one is specialized in something else. So it is worrying. I cannot say it's not. They calm you down and say, okay, nothing is going to happen, but it is going to happen. It's going to shatter the world which we are living in, and we are living in a boiling atmosphere, and things are changing very, very quickly. The other day there was a generator of videos which is called Sora or Sura. I think it's Sora, which was published. It's not for use yet. I tried to see if I could use it, but it does videos which are like Hollywood stuff. So it is worrying. Yeah, it's not just research, it's everything, and many people are going to lose their jobs. But still I can say that if you look at I looked at a report for future occupations of I think it's maybe the European Union, but I'm not sure. It said that one of the most important skills is critical thinking, analytic skills, and creative thinking, which is still needed, and also knowing how to dialogue with people and with these machines, because these are machines, even if they're in our computer or in the internet. So we need to rethink everything. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that we need to adapt, very fast. And, the soft skills, I think that this is the key in order, to adapt and, extend your lifetime in this era. But I think that,
Yeah.
Pavel would like to say something. Let me also read And a comment from our colleague Drimalas Georgios Pavlos. This is not what he said. This is not as much of a question and more like food for thought. I think AI can be really useful tool when studying and researching if combined with traditional ways. For example, studying using books and papers, there is a lot of different people that they think in a lot of different ways in our work. The written text is presenting the knowledge is the way of the writer close to organizing. Therefore, sometimes people, especially when learning some new information and missing some context that the writer maybe takes for a given, then it might be hard to fully understand the content of the book, and they might need to look into different approaches to understand in their own way. Usually a good traditional way is having, I think that George, you should better, switch on your microphone, and usually a good traditional way is having a short conversation with the teacher so they can see where you can get stuck and make it clearer for you. You think AI chats like ChatGPT will prove useful to help people get unstuck when there is not a teacher that they can reach out to nearby. By useful, I mean, okay, AI can be probably give you the answers you needed to move on with your research. Somehow, I will say. Because you need the originality,
Well,
you need the way of thinking, you need to combine. I mean, they provide the combination, these tools, but
yeah,
I think that,
yeah.
the individuals, the knowledge, the emotional intelligence, still make us, distinguish, from, these are facilitators, in my opinion. I cannot see any good, to have good researcher by following ChatGPT. It's impossible for me. In the third how, is going to answer me bullshitting. But anyhow, I think Pavel would like to speak. If Pavel is still with us, because probably he moved. I don't know. Pavel, are you with us?
No, it
Or-
looks like no.
Okay. So I would like to ask you another question. You mentioned about flexible thinking. Can you please elaborate a little bit?
Oh yeah, this was my dissertation for my PhD. So yeah, but this is of course one of the most wanted skills or traits. Of course, there's a argument what it is, to adapt ourselves to this changing world, so constantly changing. And yeah, when I did my PhD, there was here's I think somebody else is coming in. I admitted somebody else. Yeah, we need flexible thinking because it's just changing around us. So we have to adjust ourselves, adapt ourselves, and also I think this this change has to be thought about in like international, like this kind of arena as we are now. What we need to change in our teaching, what do we need to change in our researching, what we need to change in our being. I think we will not be extinct. I think we will keep on being important as people. Also, this report which I talked about does say that the teachers are not going to vanish from the world, but bank tellers are going to vanish from the world. If you're looking for who is going to disappear, the bank people are going to disappear. So, but we are there to stay. We're here to stay, at least for our life, occupational life term. I think we have nothing to worry about.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we have reached our time. I would like to thank Ariella. I would like to thank all of you, for your participation. I mean, it's a topic that I think that we are going to have a lot of discussion with the students, with the colleagues, in order to check how do we adapt and how do we react, because this is, a reality with us, and I think that we should take it in a positive way and use it, not, be used by it, but use it, for our development. Thank you very much. We're going to renew our meeting next week with another talk about technologies in learning and in teaching. Until then, stay safe and speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.